A guy sat down across from me a while back here at the office, and the first thing he said to me was, Darren, don't worry about me. I'm very diversified. And then he started listing out all his stocks, right? Not uncommon. He's got Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Tesla, a few more, 10 companies in all. Every single one of them a tech stock. Today's word is exactly what he was missing. Today's word is diversification. You've probably heard this over and over again. Maybe your financial guy uses this term. You hear it on CNBC, Jim Cramer, Mad Money. Let's play Am I Diversified? Look, diversification means not having all your money depend on the same thing being okay. Not having the same thesis have to work across every position in your portfolio. That's it. That's the whole word. Here's the trick. Owning a lot of things isn't the same as owning different things. We see this again and again and again in the practice. People think because they have 30 different mutual funds in their portfolio that they're diversified. The reality is many of them own the same things. So diversification, very simply, is a risk management strategy that mixes a wide variety of investments within a portfolio on the rationale that a portfolio constructed of different kinds of assets will, on average, yield higher, longer-term returns as well as lower the risk of any individual or smaller basket of holdings, okay? That's what it means. Unfortunately, we see it implemented poorly, or people don't quite understand this concept. Having 10 stocks doesn't mean you're diversified if they're all in the same sector. So here's the part that almost nobody explains, though, and here's where it gets different in retirement. You're going to hear us say this again and again and again. Things look different, work different in retirement. It's a different mindset. It's a different skill set. It's a different toolbox. The math isn't the same as when you're just putting money into the market while you're working and writing it out. Retirement is different, okay? In retirement, you need to be diversified on 3 different levels, and they are 3 completely different ideas. Level 1, let's call this the first layer, you must be diversified by asset. Now, this is the one that everybody talks about. It's your mix between stocks, bonds, real estate, cash, different categories, different sectors of the market, that they don't all move together, what we call non-correlated assets. When one zigs, the other zags. This is classic diversification, although in the last 20 years, as we've seen the financial world consolidate, it is harder and harder to find these non-correlated assets. But that's where most people stop. They say, well, I think I'm diversified by assets. That's just the first layer. In retirement, the second layer is perhaps even more important, and that is by tax treatment. Almost nobody thinks about this. Most financial guys don't talk about this. This is you want money in 3 different kinds of accounts. Taxable accounts, tax-deferred accounts like your 401k, your traditional IRA, and tax-free accounts like your Roth 401k or Roth IRA. Why? Because once you're retired, you get to choose which bucket to pull from each year depending on what the tax math looks like. And that choice can be worth tens of thousands of dollars annually over a retirement in tax savings. Huge important way to diversify. So 1 by asset, 2 by tax treatment, and 3, and this is the one that surprises folks the most, and that is you should have money for next year, money for the next 10 years, and money for the next 30 years. And each of those, quite frankly, should be invested differently because each of them has a very different job. We believe your money should have a job, and not only should it have a job, but it should be a specialist and have one very specific job. You don't want next year's grocery money sitting in the stock market and you don't want your 30-year money sitting in cash quietly being eroded by inflation. 3 layers, 3 different jobs. That's real diversification. Now, here's what it is not. One quick, honest thing. Diversification is not a magic shield that will protect you against every scenario. It doesn't mean nothing ever drops. It doesn't mean everything doesn't drop at the same time for the same reason. That's a big difference. And in retirement, that difference is everything. So here's the question I want you to sit with today. It's the thing that's carried your portfolio for the last 10 years. If that thing that has been working for you most, let's say it's the tech stocks, we're not even going to say AI, we're going to say maybe the Magnificent Seven, those big names. If they suddenly stopped working, or maybe even had a dramatic reversal for some unforeseen reason, do you have anything else in your portfolio that could carry it for the next 10 years? If you look at your accounts and you're not sure whether you're diversified, or if you know that you're not diversified across those 3 layers, asset, tax treatment, and time, well, you're not alone. Almost nobody is, especially do-it-yourselfers. I would argue a lot of people who are working with ordinary financial guys at the big Wall Street firms likely are not either. And that's the kind of conversation we have every single day. Remember, we serve people, not products. I'm Darren Vilardo with Tekton Wealth Advisors. Now, we just talked about how not to be exposed to the wrong things at the wrong time. Next time, the word underneath all of it is risk. Because quite frankly, it doesn't mean what most folks think it means. Something to chew on until episode 14. We'll see you then. Thank you so much. I'm Darren Vilardo, the founder of Tekton Wealth Advisors, and we would love to have a genuine conversation with you about your specific situation and what's missing from your plan, your portfolio. Thank you so much, and God bless.